when it comes to people understanding when they crossed boundaries. It's very important to be able to communicate. A lot of times we have a tendency to just get angry at people without communicating what we're feeling, and that's wrong. What's up, you guys? Phone battery is low, so I'm gonna hurry up and this is gonna be a quick one. But yeah, today I'm gonna be talking about speaking up for yourself and the importance of that, and how we should always speak up for ourselves. And I know it's a lot of people out there that will relate to this shit. Sometimes it may feel a little uncomfortable to do so, but usually 9 times out of 10 it's in your best interest. Of course, we have to use our discretion, and there's times where it's not necessary. You don't want to be doing too much, essentially, but largely it applies more in the opposite direction, where there are times where we should be speaking up for ourselves, for sure. Definitely. I think it's more people who need to hear the message of that they should speak up for themselves, as opposed to the people who were fucking saying too much, talking too much. Definitely. So yeah, I mean, there's many benefits to this. I mean, when it comes to people and when it comes to relationships, sometimes this may actually speed up the process. If you're going to speak up for yourself and it's a valid situation and it's going to make somebody feel offended, or maybe it's going to make them it's going to make some relationships end, then that's a good thing, because that means that as long as you're speaking your truth, if you speak your truth and it ends up resulting in the end of a relationship, then that's good, because that means that you just saved yourself all that time. It was inevitably gonna happen if you're just speaking your truth and it ended up being the end of a relationship, friendship, whatever it is. Yeah, just use your discretion, and you don't want to be that person that's just doing too much, you know what I'm saying, for sure. Generally speaking, it's definitely way more people who bite their tongue a lot, and people who they don't speak up for themselves when sometimes it's urgent. Sometimes it really is a necessity. It needs to be done, and things need to be said and communicated. Communication is very important, because a lot of people are not in touch with their intuition. A lot of people don't know how to read body language. It's oftentimes that we need to communicate verbally, and it's very important to do so. This way we won't be mad at people for not understanding us, you know what I'm saying? People don't always know what you're thinking, so it's definitely really important to make it be known, and to share your thoughts, and to share how you're feeling, and to communicate with people. This is very important when it comes to being able to be on the same page with people, when it comes to people understanding when they crossed boundaries. It's very important to be able to communicate. A lot of times we have a tendency to just get angry at people without communicating what we're feeling, and that's wrong, because like I said, we can't assume that people know what's going on in our head. That's not right. So it's best that we just get whatever is on our chest, we just get it off our chest, and we just communicate what we're thinking. We communicate our boundaries. We communicate when somebody crossed our boundaries. We communicate our expectations, things like this. It's very important. This way, everything can be out in the open. If people don't want to adhere to your boundaries, or they, you know what I'm saying, if it doesn't work for them, then it's good that you said it, because now it's out there, it's out in the open, and a conversation can be had, as opposed to just feeling resentment towards anyone because they're not acting how you want them to act, or whatever, or they're crossing your boundaries. Like I said, people are not mind readers, so this is an important skill. This is going to benefit all parties involved. The people who you're communicating it to, this is going to benefit them as well as you, like I said, because it gets everything out there in the open, and this way it's very clear how we can move forward. So yeah, like I said, I know definitely a lot of people deal with this shit. I know a lot of people need to be told this. A lot of people need to be told to stop biting your tongue, communicate clearly, deal with the little uncomfortableness, the tiny uncomfortable moments that stop us from being clear with our communication. Is not worth, the long-term shit that gets dragged out, all because we're not using our words and we're not communicating properly. And a lot of times we assume that people are supposed to know. We assume that they're supposed to know us, but that's not right. That's not right, like I said. So it's best to just come out your fucking face, say what you have to say, communicate what's on your mind, and this way we giving everybody a fair chance to make a decision clearly without having to guess. And this is, it's essential for humans to communicate with each other. So quick message today. This is very quick. I'm not going to reiterate a million times. I just want to remind you guys to speak up for yourself and to be clear with your communication and to be clear with your boundaries, be clear with your expectations when it comes to people. This is going to make your relationships with people so much better. A lot of people really appreciate it when you're clear with your communication. And if you guys are not seeing eye to eye, or people aren't willing to meet your expectations, or they're not willing to adhere to your boundaries, then at least it's out in the open and it's clear and you can move forward and you can just not deal with those people if that's the case. Or 9 times out of 10, it's going to make the relationship better. It's going to make things clear cut. So this way, everybody knows, everybody is on the same page. And that's very important. Communication is super important when it comes to romantic relationships, when it comes to business relationships, when it comes to acquaintances, family. It's funny, I just made a video on telepathy and shit, but that really applies to people you have a very strong connection with and people who are also listening to their intuition and listening to they have to be receptive to this shit in order for the telepathy to work. Like, that's really outside of this whole conversation. That was like a very specific scenarios that's gonna be applicable. You know what I'm saying? You have to be dealing with people who are very much tapped in with their intuition, and you're tapped in with each other also. And that's not gonna be the case for everybody. So for everybody else, and you never want to rely on that anyway. That's just something that naturally happens when you have a very strong connection with someone. But generally speaking, it's best to just communicate clearly, and we all gotta work on our communicating with each other so that we're on the same page with everybody, so everybody has equal opportunity to decide how they want to move forward with relationships with each other. This is super important. So that's the message I wanted to share today, guys. I told you I'm gonna keep this shit short. My phone battery's low. Just wanted to come and share that message. Stop biting your fucking tongue. Communicate clearly your boundaries, your expectations, anything that's bothering you, anything that you think could help somebody else. But just also, there's a balance. Like with everything, use your own discretion. And there's times where some things are not worth it. If you know it's going to create a fight or it's gonna make some tension and it's really not necessary, you have to ask that to yourself. Like, is this a deal breaker for me? If it's a deal breaker, if it's something that's very urgent, you need to communicate it. If not, you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself if it's worth it, because you don't want to just be controlling people too much. You don't want to just be super outspoken where you just have something to say all the time. It's not always necessary. So that's where there's nuance in this message, and you have to sit with yourself and decide when it's worthy to communicate. But generally, as a rule of thumb, it's best to just be clear with all this shit. It's best to be clear with what we're thinking and just use your discretion, like I said. And this is going to help your relationships be much better. And for the relationships that are not meant to be, the friendships, the acquaintances, the business relationships that are not meant to be, once you communicate clearly, it's going to become very obvious. Then both parties can move forward. That's respectful for yourself. That's respectful for the other person as well. So that's the message I wanted to share today. Be clear with your communication. Stop biting your tongue and communicate clearly, my friends. That's the fucking message for today. I love you guys so much. I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you like this video if this message really applies to you and it really resonates with you. Subscribe to the channel and also leave a comment. Let me know how this resonates with you and applies in your life and how this message helps you. Love you so much. You got 2 options when you come fuck with us here at Takeover Worldwide. It's very simple. You could either win with us or you can watch us fucking win. Love you guys so much. I'll catch you in the next video.